see all your little names coming into the room. Hi, Sandy. Hello, hello, hello. Your first Periscope. How exciting. Well, hopefully it won't be disappointment. Hi, Anita. Hi, Michelle. Hello, hello, everybody. Hi, Melissa. Hi, Jenna. Hi, Jessie. Hi, Valerie. Stephanie. I'm trying to like get your names as fast as I can. Hi, girls. Yes, Anita, you made it into chat. Hi, Jody. Hello, girls. Hi from Texas. It's snowing in Boston. You're just being a show-off. Wish it snowed here. It's raining outside. No snow. Boo. Aw, well, thank you very much. Hi. Hello. In Mississippi. Hi from Florida. It is not snowing in Florida. Or Mississippi, I'm sure. No in Pennsylvania. Hi from Sydney. Hi, girls. Happy birthday, Miss Susie. Hi, Seattle. Hello from Vegas. It's thunderstorming in Cape Cod. Hi, Emily. Hi. Hi, Lydia. It was 60 degrees in Mississippi today. Hi, Oregon. Hi, Brooklyn. You guys are so sweet and inviting followers. Hopefully this is a good Periscope and I don't embarrass myself. Yes, I am actually in my crafty space. This scene behind you is about, well, I appreciate you trying to stay awake for me. That's awesome. This little side of my office is where I have my desk, and then my craft area is over there, which is, it's still messy. Let's see, it's January. We moved in here in June. And my room still isn't finished. So, yes, see you. Hi, Louisiana. Hi, hello, hello. Yay, so you can comment now. That's awesome. Yes, one of these days I'm going to take you guys on a tour. I have to do a little fine-tuning, and then I will. And I won't even show it to you when it's all beautiful and perfect, because that's just not reality, and we can all agree on that. But I do need to make some adjustments over here. So, good morning, Malaysia. Aloha. It is not snowing in Hawaii. I think we can totally agree that that would be a miracle. So, hello, ladies. I am so excited. Hi, Kailani. I am so excited to see you girls for this very special Periscope. And I want to apologize in advance. This is my first time doing a scope like this, and I'm going to do my best to stay on track. And Roll Tide, I just saw that, Alabama. I am going to do my best to stay on track and actually give you guys what I hope is a really good overview of the concept of resetting your life. It is basically what I stand for. It is why I named myself the Reset Girl long before I was a planner girl, long before I was going, I was on Instagram. I had this amazing opportunity that was to reset my life, and it was a very intentional decision, because we can agree that sometimes in life things happen to us, and sometimes we make things happen for ourselves. And could something be blocking the microphone? Yes, something could be blocking the microphone.
That is entirely possible. And just for the record, I just saw this amazing little, what do you call it? It's like a little plug-in microphone for your smartphone. Woo, much better. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Well, I'm glad. You guys were all so polite, just letting me go on and you could barely hear me. Okay, I am not blocking the thing. So far, all good, right? It does not appear to be any freezing issues. There does not appear to be any like robotic voice issues. You can hear me now, and I'm sitting calmly in my office. we're about to talk about resetting your life. So, okay, so let's backtrack to what I was saying. So, sometimes in life things happen to us, and some things we choose to do for ourselves. And sometimes we come to crossroads in our lives where the decision of I want to make a change desperately can become all encompassing, all empowering. It's like the only thing that you can think of, because your life has become suddenly very, very challenging in a bad way. And so you can come to a crossroads. Now, some people might feel a bit overwhelmed by a lot of bad things happening all at once, or changes that we didn't exactly expect, like a divorce. Sometimes that divorce is handed to you rather than you being an active participant. Sometimes you can lose your job. Sometimes you can lose a child or a spouse very unexpectedly. And those things can completely overwhelm our circuitry. They can cause us to be in a position we didn't expect to be in life. So the reason why I found myself in a reset crossroads is that I, at what would most people would consider a young age, at 37, I technically became an empty nester. At 37, I suddenly did not have, I lost a lot of things all at once. This was the year of the bad economy, 2008. So I lost the best job I ever had. I lost, therefore, losing my apartment and my freedom, which I had always cherished. And I lost my kid temporarily because she wanted to move out of the area and live with a relative to finish school. We were not, we were not in a good place as mother-daughter. So I had been a single mom for all those years, and being her mom and thinking like a mom and always thinking in like, what can I do better? What can I do now? What can I do for her? What place do I need to live in? What job do I need to have to make her life as good as possible? Suddenly the whole structure of my thinking, my mentality was completely gone. You know, I didn't have anything that I'd worked so hard to get to the top of like my little career ladder. I had worked so hard to finally live in a beautiful neighborhood, and like just what you would dream of as a young girl starting out life with a baby. You dream of being able to provide that beautiful neighborhood with the, you know, the suburbans and the parents with the 2.5 kids. And you know, I lived in a town that even has a wonderful name. It was called Pleasanton. So I had all of these things and lost all of these things. And I have to tell you that it was quite a painful crossroads to be at. And I saw the writing on the wall that if I did not become proactive, if I did not reach out for help, this was literally going to take me down. And so I made some decisions right away when all of this was happening. I got myself into counseling so I could talk to somebody as I was making my decisions and had someone to kind of bounce ideas off of. And I decided that I was going to make some changes so that I could have a happy life. This is fundamentally why I wanted to put a name to it. And I kept telling myself, it's kind of like you're hitting a reset button, Corey, and you're starting all over. One thing that I had always plagued me as a young person, starting off with a child alone, is that I always felt like I was behind everybody. I never, like, all my peers moved on. They all went on to college and they all went on to great lives. And I totally felt like that wasn't me. That wasn't happening for me. Everything was much harder, and I felt behind. So I was always struggling, and everything I did was for the sake of my baby. And so for the first time ever, I found myself thinking, you know, what do I want to do with my life? What do I want to do with the rest of my life? You don't realize till you get there. 37's pretty darn young. I always thought in my 20s it sounded so old, but then when I got there, I was like, wow, I feel so young still. Like I have so much that I want to do. So if I'm not somebody's mother full time and that's my job, what do I want to do? And so I started thinking about that. And there were some very profound things that really occurred to me. And this is about what resetting means. Resetting is just a general overview of areas of your life that you want to do a do-over, or you want to fix and correct so that you can kind of hit the button and move in a different direction. It's not, I wouldn't consider it to be very goal specific as much as it is as an overview, like an overarching goal over your whole life. Now there were some things about me that I felt held me back in life in general. And part of it, we are our own worst enemy, aren't we? We tell ourselves we can't do things. We tell ourselves we're not good enough. I truly do not understand why we spend so much time telling ourselves how we're not good enough. It is the weirdest thing that you're stuck with you. Your you is the only person that's ever going to be with you, for you, always, till the day you die is you. And you should be your own best friend. You should be your own person that coaches yourself and tells yourself you can do it. Because the interesting thing is most of us spend that much energy doing that for the people we love. We coach and we encourage and we treat our children, our spouses, our friends so much kinder. We put so much energy into helping them realize their potential. And we have such a hard time doing that for ourselves. And I find that very sad. And for most of us, it takes a very long time on this earth before we finally get it. You know, we need to start spending that time and that investment in me, because obviously I can lose my job, I can lose a spouse, I can lose my child. And at the end of the day, I'm still stuck with me. Till the day I leave this earth, you're stuck with yourself. You may as well be friends. You may as well do the very best for yourself that you can. So when I really sat down and thought that through and had that kind of epiphany that I needed to stop battling myself and telling myself, you know, you're not creative, you're not a good writer. There are certain gifts that we've been born with. There's ways that we've been wired. And why we tell ourselves we can't do things we're wired to do is amazing to me. So in my life, I have always had a career that I was not suited for at all, but it was how you take care of your family. It's how you put food on the table. It's what you do in the quick moment, and you stick it through, because when you're a parent, you have obligations, right? When you have debt, when you have bills, when you have to pay your living, you have obligations. So that was like an area for me that I was very, very unhappy with. And I'm sure a lot of us can relate to that, right? Oftentimes we have jobs is just, that's not who we are, but it's how we get along through life. It's how we take care of the living, you know, the requirements so that we can actually live and have fun on the side. So the areas in which resetting your life, and this is how I want you guys to think about this, because you're going to be, hopefully this year, this is going to be something that you really think about and apply and consider, especially because many of you are in the Goal Getter Club. And this is an overarching goal I want all of us to be thinking about, because there's areas of my life I still am resetting, and I'm going to be sharing more of that too, so that as we go along you can see that I'm going to be very transparent and open with you about areas that I need to reset, because I may have done some of them great in the beginning, but now I need to kind of like hit the button again and fine tune. So some of the areas of your life that needs a reset. So some things are fundamentals. Areas that need a reset sometimes start with yourself. Sometimes yourself is an area where you need to reset first before you can tackle all the goals. If you don't have a good, healthy foundation, that's a problem. You can't build a building with a shaky foundation. You have to be your own best coach, more so than anyone you go find in any Facebook group or on Instagram or your friends. You have to be your own coach first and foremost. You have to believe for yourself. That can be very difficult at first. It takes practice to talk kindly to yourself sometimes. If you've been making a habit of talking meanly to yourself, it is different to talk kindly. And I'm going to be the first to tell you, it took me a while. It took months to really get that, and to talk to yourself out loud quietly when you're alone. Tell yourself, oh my gosh, you're awesome. You're amazing. Look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself, wake up every morning and go stand in front of that mirror and tell yourself how awesome you are. It will be weird at first. It totally will. But girl, over time, when you keep telling yourself the same thing, you're going to remember, that's right. Negative self-talk is so much damaging than anything else in the world. Your brain is like a little computer, and you're basically programming yourself to believe and think and have the mindset that you do. When you spend half that time convincing yourself how amazing and awesome you are, you will be astounded at the difference that makes in how you approach things. You may not be able to change you may not be able to change certain things that happen to you in life. Circumstances are totally not in your control, but you totally have control over the attitude in which you face them. And that's half the battle, is the attitude in which you face things. And sometimes there is no good way of getting through grief. There's no awesome way of getting through loss. Loss is loss. It's something you had and something you don't have anymore. And like spending time beating yourself up for what you could have done this way or could have done that way, all that energy you spend doing that is for naught. Spending time building yourself up, even when we make mistakes, giving grace to yourself, because we're often very, very forgiving of other people before we forgive ourselves. Those are foundational things that really that are a really important part of a reset, because whether or not, let's say for instance, your reset is a lot to do with like the fact that you are facing a divorce or just suddenly are divorced. There are some fundamental things about being divorced and having lost that your status, your marriage, your house, your things, all those things that change affects who you see yourself as. And as an example, one of the things we tell ourselves as women is, I'm never going to find another person. I'm never going to find another man. No one's going to want me. That's lies, 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 right? It's total lies. So that's an example right there is building your foundation of, I am still awesome. I may be divorced, but I'm still awesome. It's the same thing with all the other aspects that you face. Your first and foremost foundation you have to build is your happiness with yourself. And when the areas that you have to face you're not happy with, it is your responsibility to fix them. Not anyone else's but yours. And that is one of the things that I really want to make sure that we understand as facing our goals is no one's going to do that work for you. And people who achieve goals are the ones who show up and they do the work. And some of it is messy and icky. And yeah, I wasn't happy with a lot of stuff that I really spent time thinking about who I am and some of my faults and things. But now I accept that some of those things are within my power to fix, to change, to correct. And having your eyes open to that is the biggest part of being able to truly be successful at resetting your life, right? That's right. 80% is just showing up. Absolutely. So I will give you an example from my own self. So I was a very poor judge of my own character. I thought very little of myself. I always told myself, you're a bad mom. You're not as good a mom as other moms. Being a single mom was like a scarlet letter. I judged myself so harshly about that, and I never felt like I was a good enough mom. So not only did I do that to myself for many years, but then when I wasn't a mom, technically, every day anymore, that kind of left me with not a whole lot of material to work with. So if I'm not someone's mom and that's not like something I can pour energy into, so what am I? What am I about? So I realized that a lot of things I do is not just telling myself that I'm a bad mom, but I doubt myself all the time. I don't trust my own decisions. And because I don't trust myself or value myself, I make mistakes in other areas of my life, like I pick bad men. How many girls here can totally relate to picking bad men? We pick men based on what we think we are worth. And man, one of the worst things you can do, right? So that is another area that it really became clear to me that because I don't do one thing, it causes me to do other things like pick bad men. I don't think about how much I should, like how well I should be treated. I don't hold myself to a high standard of what I expect to be treated like. I I spend all my energy trying to prove what a great girlfriend I am so that they'll want to date me. All of those things kind of contribute to the poor way you look at yourself. So there's another area that's really bad because I don't have a good foundation. Fitness. So I've been a chubby kid, you know, my whole childhood, and I was a chubby teenager, and then I got a little older, and although it's funny how we can appreciate, when we go back and look, we're like, dang, I wasn't chubby. There were times in my life where I was like, wow, I was average, but other times, like, I let my negative self-image and all of that, I turned to food to make myself feel better, which I know a lot of you can also relate to, right? As you're eating pizza. Yes, food was my comfort for myself, being alone and feeling bad about myself. We sit there and we use food to make ourselves feel better, food is not your friend. Food is like sustenance to live, but we treat it like it is our security blanket. We treat it like it's our, you know, it's like having a drink at the end of the day. It's like having a shot of pizza, a donut, all those things. We eat to punish ourselves. We eat to try and make ourselves feel better. And you end up walking around showing all your feelings by doing that because you don't treat food, you don't put it in it's the position that it should be in your life. So that was another area that I realized by not valuing myself and having a good foundation. I wasn't putting myself in a position to have healthy thoughts about myself or have a healthy view. I wasn't going for walks. I wasn't exercising or doing anything that would give me a naturally good feeling all the time. Don't they always talk about how exercise makes you feel better? But what do? We avoid it. Oh, I'm too tired. I feel too depressed to go for a walk. And I'm not gonna lie. I should be out walking as we speak. I should be walking, and that is definitely one of my areas that I'm going to work on this year because I did let myself get carried away with eating again, and I had at one point tackled it. I thought, but it can get away from you. That's for sure. So it's an area that at the time I was really conscientious of it because when you feel bad about yourself. And now you feel like, wow, I don't even look good. I don't even look like a glowing 37-year-old single woman. Not taking care of myself, not doing any of those things. How would I attract, true love? How would I have a relationship when that was important to me? If I don't even feel good about myself and I don't treat myself or value myself very much, who would be attracted to a woman like that? You know, you have to really think about that. So I don't even treat myself good when I don't reflect that I do either. So who would I end up with, right? So this was all like an epiphany to me. I needed to build a foundation. So part of my foundation was the areas I wanted to tackle was fitness, understanding what I needed in order to find love, and a new career. Because I was very unhappy being an administrative assistant, an executive assistant. That's not what I'm suited for. I'm terrible at administration. I really, truly am. And sometimes a lot of us find ourselves in a career that we were not meant to do. I'm not wired that way, and really all the years that I've worked in that field, I always found a way to do creative projects on the side. I would totally show my value by doing all these creative things, like, look what I can do, so that I could get to do fun things on the job. But now that I didn't have to be a secretary, I didn't want to be one. I wanted to do, what do I want to do? If I don't have to worry about taking care of a child full time now, and all it is just me, what do I want to do? What am I suited for? Well, if you could pick anything at any time in your life and you hit a button and get a do-over, what would it be? And that was what I was facing. I lost my job, so I had a lot of options, open to me. Like I can do, this is a do-over, whether I wanted it or not. So those were the areas that I really wanted to focus on. And that is what I would encourage you to do. If this is something that's like really resonating with you right now, is do not worry about getting a planner or an insert or anything fancy. Get a notepad, get a piece of paper and a pen, and I want you to think about the areas of your life that you are just not happy with, not feeling. Thinking like I see some troubling areas that cause me to have long-term unhappiness, that cause me to have issues that kind of, they roll over into other areas of my life. And part of it, for a lot of us women, is really about just the fundamentals of understanding yourself and liking yourself. So understanding yourself is kind of a complex thing. You know, there's a lot up to it. But what I found was that was really, for me, the area that I had the greatest breakthrough of all, that finally stopped me from being so hard on myself, judging myself, and being so mean and saying, you're so weird. What is wrong with you? Why can't you go out and enjoy being around other people? Why do you have such a hard time having friends? Why is that so hard for you, Corey? I used to think I was so weird. And then one day I read a book and it opened my eyes. It was a book about being an introvert. And I get asked this all the time. What was the book you read? And I believe the book that I read was, there you go, Serenity. It is so true. When you have just the basic understanding of who you are and how you are wired, oh my gosh, it changes everything. So there's extroverts and there's introverts. The book I read, I want to say, was called Introvert Advantage. There's two of them that are really good. Introvert Advantage and I think it's called The Power of Being an Introvert. I got them on Amazon, and they're still there. Yes, introverts! Introverts unite! And it's funny how many introverts there are on Instagram, on social media, right? Because this is this area where we can control with just like how much we participate in, you know, jump in and jump out, is introverts. Just, I feel like we're like our best selves on social media. I feel like that's what's so confusing. People think I'm so extroverted when I'm really not. It is the power of social media. You get to hide the, you know, hide the aspects of yourself, and you get to project and have the energy to share with who you are. And that really was what the big epiphany was, is I'm not weird. I'm not abnormal. And there's tons of people just like me. There's people who get a little anxiety about going to social events. There's people like me who just feel drained around being around lots of people. There's people who just, they prefer their own company. When I was a kid, I didn't have a lot of friends. I played in my room by myself all the time, and I had the most elaborate little make-believe games and everything, right? And most introverts, we can all agree, we had very interesting childhoods because we played in our heads with ourselves. We were just like up in our head. We were writers, we were readers, we were little artists. Introverts have so much amazingness to contribute to this world, and yet I was so mean to myself, thinking I was so weird because all I compared myself to were extroverts. Girls, extroverts are nothing like us. They love being around people. They love being involved in things and being part of things. They love connecting and talking to people. And it's not that we don't love connecting, we do. We like connecting one-on-one. We like having those intimate relationships. We might have very few close friendships, but they mean everything to us. We're incredibly loyal. All of those things there are so many wonderful things about introverts. And so, introverts, I am talking to you. If you have never read or know much about being an introvert, I'm asking you right now to do that. Go hop on your library, go hop on Amazon, and go type in introvert and see the books. There's more books now on Amazon than there was, I don't know, 7, 8 years ago when I did this. There is a lot more studies done about them. There's a lot more research. There's so many cool, there's this website called, I think it's called the Personality Cafe. I believe that's what it's called. If you Google it, you might see it's a variation. Maybe it's Personality Cafe. But Personality Cafe, you can even see, if you ever took the myers-briggs assessment, you can even see down to your like little 4-digit code, you can find a group of people that are exactly like you. So I'm an INFP. I encourage you to take a free assessment of the Myers-Briggs. You can do that online, and there's free assessments. You shouldn't have to pay for it. I believe it's called personalitypages.com. I think that's what it's called. And there's like a little quiz, and you can take it, and it'll give you a 4-digit. There you go. INTJ, ISFJ, ISFJ. Girls, the most prolific planner girl, I'm going to bet money, is an INFJ. I cannot believe how many INFJs there are. There you go, Jenna. See, I made Jenna take it. Planner meetup. So I am an INFP. So INFPs are the little writers and creators and artists and stuff. And so when I started reading about INFPs, like I drilled down and even found out that much, oh my goodness. I had such an appreciation for myself. I was like, oh my gosh, INFPs are amazing. Albert Einstein was an INFP. Princess Diana, Mother Teresa. I mean, there were some amazing people that are INFPs. So that right there, I'm telling you, like, I'm just getting excited talking about it, but that right there was one of my biggest epiphanies, and it totally changed everything at that time, because I was like, I am not weird. I'm pretty awesome. There's a lot of qualities about me that I did not appreciate, and I need to start thinking about now. The more you learn about what your strengths are, the more gifts and talents that you have, the more you can utilize them. The more that you realize you have, you can start moving towards the things that you are naturally good at, which is a great way of picking a career. What are you naturally good at? Oh, you extroverts are not terrible. You guys are awesome. Look how many extroverts there are that make things happen because they like being out there and changing the world. So introverts probably change the world on their laptop from their phone. Some of the most brilliant minds have been introverts, but boy, there are a lot of extroverts too. So there you go. There's one, The Quiet Power of Introverts. That was like a TED Talk. Also, if you were to go on, is it TEDx.com? It's where you can listen to all the TED Talks that there are. The writer, she did a TED Talk about being an introvert called The Quiet Power and Introvert. I think that's what it was called. See, and then that's another thing. When you know if you're an introvert or an extrovert, that also helps you make decisions about who you should be dating. Because some people would not do well being married to an opposite. Some people go, oh, I'm so balanced. This is so good to be married to an extrovert because then I'll get out of the house. I'll actually participate in life. And some introverts love being married to other introverts because you're so equal in your equilibrium. My husband and I are both introverts, and I can't believe what a difference it makes, and how much contentment there is and not battling because we're very similar. So having some core understanding of who I was, that helped me start tackling some of the unhappy areas of my life, like, understanding what I needed in order to find love, a new career path. Those were two huge elements that I wanted to reset. Understanding the fact that I was an introvert, that was a huge step forward in being able to solve that issue and being able to start being more intentional, my word of the year, and figure out how to use my strengths to help change and reset those areas. So instead of battling against myself, like, some people might go, well, I need to understand, I want to have a new love. I want to have a boyfriend. I want to get married. So, they might think, oh, I should be speed dating. I should be online dating. I should be doing all these things that everyone else is doing. What if that is the most horrible way in the world for you personally to find true love? Because an introvert is never going to want to do speed dating. I can't imagine a world in which introverts would be like, yes, I want to talk to strangers for 60 seconds. In a social environment that I'm not familiar with and don't know anybody. Yes, sign me up, right? There you go, Tiffany. That'd be my worst nightmare. Online dating, however, is a gift for introverts, I have to say, because I did not go out enough to ever meet anybody. So, but understanding those elements, I'm telling you right now, if you were going to start, if you are identifying with any part of this and you are feeling like, yeah, I want to tweak some things, I'm telling you right now, I would highly recommend you do a little research about the introvert-extrovert thing and doing a Myers-Briggs personality assessment. Sometimes having some tools at your disposal to kind of understand yourself is going to help you make better decisions, because you're going to naturally want to gravitate towards the things you are designed to do. Don't fight against your wiring. Go with your wiring. And I'm telling you, if you take the time to do that, you're going to, like, half the battle is already over with your resetting your life. Whatever you choose to reset, whatever areas you're tackling, you've already done half the battle by at least getting yourself the tools. So you want to reset your career, having the Myers-Briggs assessment, I cannot say enough about it. It is the number one thing I did, and it helped me realize that I am not suited to be a secretary, an administrator of any kind. I am not any of the things that you have to be a really good one. The funny thing is that INFPs tend to be really good writers. They tend to be really good writers, teachers. They're really good at creative endeavors. Often a lot of them, they tend to be big encouragers, and that is definitely what I am. So what kind of career fields, do you end up being in that? And obviously a writer is one of them. You can end up being a counselor is another. So you start kind of like honing in on, these are things that sound appealing to me because that's how I'm wired. I'm going to go with it. So that is definitely the areas in which I found myself able to start tackling things because I started building the foundation of who I am. So the number 2 thing after you identify the areas that need a reset is, identify the steps that will allow you to tackle your priority areas. So fitness. So obviously with fitness, it's pretty fundamental, right? You start exercising, you change your diet. And I used that time, I started going on these really long walks, like a 3-mile walk every day, and I used that time to start talking to myself. And yes, I talked out loud to myself in public. And why did I do that? Because I cared more about what I thought than what other people thought. And I needed to hear myself say that you're awesome, you can do this. You can get around. I used to walk around this big lake in my town, and I would tell myself when my feet started hurting and I was like out of breath, you can do this. You're going to look amazing when you're done. You're going to feel so much better. And I started really imagining and picturing how much better I was going to look. And that gave me the motivation to move forward. That was something I really cared a lot about, was changing the way I looked. And it's not like I was like, I'm going to be a size 2. It was, I wanted to feel good about myself, and I wanted to look better. And, in whatever way that, whatever that looks like to you, and everyone has a different idea in their head of what looking good means. But that was how I kind of created that new life for my head in my head. And I took care of myself. I got my, I did that whole makeover thing, where I got my hair done, I got my nails done, and I started taking care of myself. I started, you kind of like, I started, what is that, fake it till you make it? So I started treating myself as if I were already there. So I started getting my hair done cool and started getting my nails done. Even though I was still overweight and I still was kind of lumbering along, I started treating myself like I had already arrived at my destination. And it really started changing everything about doing that. It made me want to get out there and go for a walk. And yes, a lot of us have to pep talk ourselves all the time, and do not be afraid to do it. You pep talk yourself as much as you need to in order to get to your goal, because it is hard and nobody can do that for you. There's not a girlfriend you have that's going to be on the phone with you telling you you're going to look good, girl, you just keep it up. No one's going to do that for you. It is all up here. And so it's a time for you to start talking to yourself. It's a time for you to start coaching and motivating yourself. Use that time. When you have focused time working on your reset area, start talking to yourself. It is okay. No judgment. We will not judge you. It is good for you to hear yourself say out loud all the positive things, because you have not been doing it. It takes practice and skill to get that up, and to keep telling yourself, keep on keeping on. Even when you make a mistake, even when you have backslide, you must continue to keep talking to yourself. So understanding what I needed was reading the book. I needed to have a good foundation of that. And during that time of trying to understand what I needed, I did not date anybody. I cut off all dating for 6 months. I had been a prolific online dater trying to find a boyfriend. I shut that down. I said, Corey, I almost said my daughter's name. Corey, you are going to date yourself. So for 6 months, you are going to focus on you. You are going to take yourself out on dates. You're going to get comfortable with going to a public place on your own having dinner in public, going to movies, all of that, and you're going to do it, and you're just going to hold your head high and be like, yep, I'm dating myself. And until you can get confident and feel good doing that, you know, I'm not going to let you date. I'm going to be tough love. So that is something that I worked, you know, that I kind of set in motion in my head. No dating. You're going to date yourself. You're going to start going for walks. I started making a game plan, and I wrote it down. Write everything down. When you tell yourself that this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to focus on, write it down. You have a far better chance of all of these things coming to pass. There you go. Even when you're married, you can date yourself. So you have a far better chance of everything coming to pass when you write things down. It's like kind of a way of programming your little brain. This is going to happen, you know, and there's nothing wrong with, you know, using a plain old notebook to do this. Do not, I know most of us are planner girls and we start fretting and getting all about the details of like setting up the perfect environment. Right now, it is just about getting it out. So I would encourage you to just grab a notebook and start writing these things down, writing these areas down that you want to tackle, that you're looking at, writing down the names of books, websites, resources. Just start writing things down. Don't worry about how it looks and or any of those things and judging yourself for how you organize the information. It's about getting it out so that you have something to work with. And so the other thing I had to do was, so changing my career as a step that needed to be done, that means I had to make choices. Does that mean I go back to school to learn a new skill set? So, and I'd always wanted to finish my bachelor's degree and have it, so I chose that. I chose that I was going to go, in order to change my career, I was going to make plans to go back to school. A lot of us do that, and you can do that at any time in your life. I am so incredibly inspired by the women that go back to school and get their degree when they're 75 years old. There is nothing in the world, nothing, like walking across the stage to accept a diploma you worked your ass off for. I am telling you right now, there's nothing that can remotely come close to it. If that is on your list, you dream of having your degree, I am telling you now, do not ever cheat yourself out of that experience. No matter what it takes or how long it takes, do not ever give up on that. When I got to have that moment, I will never forget it as long as I live. And that moment has totally buoyed me up at moments where I felt very much like, I don't even know if I can do this. You have to have those amazing, yay, I want it life moments in order to get through the, oh my gosh, this is so hard, I can't do this moment. Because the, oh my gosh, this is so hard, those come a lot more than, yay, I won. It is true, and no one can ever take that away from you. And I don't care if some people go, it's just a piece of paper. It is not just a piece of paper. I'm not saying to get yourself into a lifetime's worth of debt for it, and there's ways, I know there's ways to get your degree creatively without going into debt over with the student loan. That was the route I chose. I'm not going to recommend that to anybody. But I would say this, is that no one will ever be able to take that away from me. That victory, the rest of my life, and I got to stand up on the campus of ASU and take a bow for getting my degree summa cum laude, the top of my class. And standing there with all these little 21-year-olds. That was awesome. But I'll remember it the rest of my life. And every time I tell myself that I can't do something, I'll have that to remember. Yes, you can. You did something you never thought you could do. And that's what I want to mention to you girls too at this time. Sometimes you have to set yourself up for that experience, that moment. You have to give yourself an opportunity to do something you never thought you could do. And I have to tell you that when I started this whole Reset Your Life at 37, it happened to come around my birthday. So I picked something that I knew would be so incredibly hard to do right off the bat, because I knew that if I did it, I would always have that moment to look at and go, I did that. I can do anything. So I chose to jump out of a plane for my birthday. I am terrified of heights. I won't even go on the Ferris wheel at the fair. I won't even do that. No way. I don't even like getting on the roof of the house. When I was a kid, I was terrified of that. But I thought to myself, this is what I said, self, if you jump out of that airplane, the scariest thing you can think of doing, if you jump out of it, you'll be able to say to yourself, anytime you get scared to do anything in life, you can do this because you jumped out of an airplane, and nothing is scarier than that. So I forced myself to do it, and it became it became a baseline for me. Am I telling you to jump out of a plane? No, I'm not telling you to jump off a bridge either. I'm telling you to pick something that's scary. Pick something that's scary. I don't care if it means you go up to a stranger and just start up a conversation. If that's the scariest thing you can think of, if it's getting up in front of a group and talking and sharing a story, it could be anything. All of us have different fears. It could be going to the what are those places like the zoo and you like fondle snakes and you can touch them? If that's your fear, whatever it is, I'm telling you, pick something that is going to give you victory. Pick a something, whatever it is. Giving birth. There you go. There's no way, there's no going back from that, right? Once you're on that road, it's like the baby's got to come out some way. So there you go. You pick a ride. Oh my gosh, go to an amusement park and do one of those like that elevator drop ride that just shoots straight down. Pick something that terrifies you, something that you can do, and do it. And I'm telling you, there is something so freeing about having that in your head that you can cling to when you keep telling, because your little negative voice is going to be your enemy for a very long time. It takes a while to shut that little guy down. So you have that to public speaking. All of us fear that. My gosh, I have complete terrifying fear of public speaking, and yet I keep saying, yes, I'll speak. So there you go. I'm telling you, it doesn't have to be jumping out of a plane, but I did that to prove to myself. That is how serious I took the whole Reset Your Life campaign that I was on. I picked something I knew would be hard because I wanted to show myself, Corey, you can do this. And nothing that you're about to face is harder than jumping out of a plane. There's a ton of people that will never do that. You are braver than those people. So whatever you got to do to talk yourself into and give yourself a baseline of saying, oh, I did that, do it, please. Make yourself a list of things you can think of that are hard. I don't care. We're all different. If for you the idea of striking up a conversation with a stranger in an elevator is terrifying, or going to a social event, being the life of the party, getting up in front of everyone and dancing, whatever it is, please do it. Running a marathon. Dear Lord, I would be so grateful to get across, even if I had to crawl across the finish line. For most of us, that would be terrifying, like to put ourselves out there, to say, yes, I can do this. I believe in myself. You're going to fail at things. It just happens. Failure's not fun, but boy, does it make us learn something about ourselves? Like, maybe I should have prepared for that a little harder next time. Maybe I won't take things for granted. Maybe I will do some research about how hard it is to do a marathon. There's a lot of things. And losing weight, for most of us, most women, we always have some little persnickety things that we always want to change about ourselves physically. And what I have grown to believe about, stuff like that it's not really this magic number I cling to. It's just really about how good I feel. Do I feel good about myself going out and doing stuff? That's all that matters. What that weight is, I don't even know. I just want to get to a point where when I walk around, when I see myself in reflection, I'm like, dang. And my baseline could be completely different from yours. And that's what I'm saying. It should be a personal thing. It is not about some magic number or magic jean size. You shouldn't be focused on some of those things. It should be about how good you feel about yourself. That is like the best barometer as you're doing this reset. Am I feeling better about things? Do I have a new outlook? Can I see the forest for the trees? Am I not spending all my time, drowning my sorrows in ice cream? All those little victories, all those little things you see over time, you should reward yourself. You should give yourself a high five, slap it high. There's going to be times where you do achieve. You do achieve the little steps that are getting you along, and that's what you need to acknowledge to yourself. That's super important. So give yourself a deadline for those things that are a priority. So in my case, I kind of picked a few things to work on, which was, it's okay, you know what, anything that's going on right now on the scope, if anyone's coming in late, I save everything to catch. And if one of you wonderful girls could put the little, what is that called? The URL. It's weird. It's like Catch Me. but there's like a dot, and I never remember where it is, but I know one of you girls knows because you always type it in for me. But catch.me or whatever is catchme.com, it will have the replay, and you can watch the whole thing. So, and it'll be on there forever. Periscope takes it off. There you go. Thank you, Melissa. So, thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, Jenna. You guys are so awesome. You're like my little team. Okay, so that's where you can watch any. I save all of them there, so you can go and watch them and see. Even the tragic ones where I couldn't even get it on air. I save them. So, where are we? I'm doing pretty good. I'm staying on task. I made myself a little list so I wouldn't go too astray. So you want to give yourself a deadline for the things that are a priority and work on them collaboratively or one at a time. If all you have on your plate right now is time to do one thing, then one thing. And if it takes you all year to do that one thing, it is okay. Do not compare notes. Don't try and make, everyone has a different life. Some of you have little kids. You are in a season where you are raising up your children. That is an important part of your life. And I certainly am not trying to take that away from anybody. What I'm saying is whatever your goal is, if you have to chip away at it and it takes you a year to do it, it's okay. That's still one goal that you achieved that you didn't achieve last year. So resetting your life can look like many different things, but what I would say, it's always about the fundamentals. It is always about your base foundation. That's where it all starts from. And as long as you are really good there and you have a good positive outlook on things and you can be kind to yourself, those are all good signs of like, I'm pretty healthy. Doesn't mean you're perfect. Doesn't mean that you don't make mistakes and that you don't have to apologize and seek grace. It doesn't mean that you're not going to mess up, because you will. No matter how great you get yourself feeling, you are going to have days where you're like, crap, this sucks. I'm not as far along as I thought. Some of us, we all have different little challenges, and our personalities kind of dictate how many challenges we're going to have. But self-compassion, absolutely, is one of those big things that is such a key component of being able to reset successfully. Because you don't want to be judgy with yourself. It took you a long time to get where you are now, as negative speaking you've been doing, all the stuff that we drag from childhood and teenage years. We drag that stuff like baggage right into where we are today. It took a long time, girl, to get where you are today. So be kind with yourself. You're not going to change overnight. These are things you're chipping away at. You're making effort. So starting off that you're awesome. Saying it to yourself in the mirror every day. Starting those little dialogues with yourself. Talk to yourself in the car. So many of us have time by ourselves in the car or in the shower. If you're a mommy and you've got little kids that you are taking care of and feeding life into all day long, there are some opportunities you have during the day where you're all by yourself. Sometimes you have time in the bathroom, whether that's in the shower or other areas. You take that time to talk to yourself. Take the time to talk to yourself when you're in the car. If you have a moment to yourself, just take that time. I know a lot of you girls don't even get time in the bathroom. It's such an indignity. But one day, I promise you, you will. It's true. One day they will not care about following you all over the house. And then I have to tell you, conversely, you're going to miss all that time where they wanted to be in the bathroom with you. And you're going to miss every moment that you wished you had just said, okay, I'll read another story. And so think about that too. You don't want to wish all that away. I wish a million times that I could have those little kid moments again, because once they're gone forever. So mommies, appreciate all that bathroom time that they want with you. All the time where they're pulling on you and needing you, because yes, they will stop doing that one day. But when you do have a moment, just give yourself a pep talk. You're doing the best you can, and that's really important. It really is, to pep talk yourself. Spend more time doing that than you do on Instagram. Pep talk yourself more time than you do on Facebook. You pep talk yourself more than you do that to anybody else, because you are the only you that they have and you have. So it's really important to keep that on track and keep that positive talk flowing, because I'm telling you that negative talk comes out so much faster than positive. So when you give yourself a deadline, I'm going to give you So when you give yourself a deadline, you are always kind of working backwards. So let's say you wanted to have a new job in a year. So you set yourself a year from that day that you've made that decision, and you work backwards. What do I need to do to get to this position? How many times do I need, how much job searching is involved? What kind of assessment do I need to do of my skill set? Do I need to hire someone to do my resume? Like, there's a bunch of tasks to make that day happen. So you have to work backwards and start budgeting all your time. And how important is that goal to you? Is it the most all-encompassing, if you could put all your eggs in one basket and that's the one thing you're going to change that year? Then that's how you have to treat it. It has to be a true priority to you. And you have to think about in terms of like, how bad do you want it? Do you want it more than anything else? Or is it worth it to you to sacrifice some of your time wasters to achieve it? A lot of us spend a lot of time on social media, playing on Pinterest. We can think of a million different ways in which we waste time. So if you want that goal more than you want anything else, you're going to start kind of editing some of the things in your life to help you get there. If you have a full-time job, if you have a family, your time becomes way more precious. You have to be really careful about how you spend it. Think of time like money. If you have an hour, consider that like $1 and start thinking about it. How do I spend? If I have $1 and I have to divide it up a certain way, think about how much money you're spending each day on the wrong thing. Sometimes when I think of it that way, it really changes my mindset when I kind of do an equal to dollars to time. Because time for a lot of us just feels so like flowy and like we're not keeping track of it. And I am terrible at it. I can't believe how often I'll look down and the time has changed. So one of the things in which I do sometimes is play that little game in my mind about, wow, I spent $20 a day playing on Facebook, let's say. $20! It didn't help my business. It didn't help me develop relationships with anybody. I wasn't like, invested in building somebody up. It didn't have any meaning to it. It was just wasted time. So when you start thinking about stuff like that, you can start budgeting your time better, because everything has to be about making this goal happen. And how important is it to you to be there to make it on time? Because you only get so much time. You don't have like time bending abilities. So you have to really focus on that and how you're going to achieve your goal. And I will go into this more in depth when we all start gathering up what our things are and what we're going to work on this year. We're just kind of doing an overview right now. But those of you who are in the Reset Your Life group, in the Goal Getters Club, we are going to share what we are going to be working on, and we're going to talk about that kind of stuff and being very specific and like how I'm going to break this down. Now, there are some amazing tools out there that really help you get into the mindset. One tool that I love, and I'm so grateful, I try to promote it as much as possible because it's so amazing, is Laura Casey's Power Sheets. That girl did a brilliant job with goal setting and how you break it all down and really be specific about it. And it makes you like be accountable and makes you think it through. Like, you don't get to cheat the system. And yes, there is a club. It's on Facebook, the Reset Girls Goal Getters Club. But we are in the process of moving it over to this beautiful website with a forum and organization, and I cannot wait for you girls to see it. It's going to be so awesome. I appreciate how patient you guys are, those of you who are hanging out in the Facebook group waiting patiently. So the steps for your deadline. So you're making those steps an important part of your weekly and monthly goals. So when you start breaking it down, it has to account for some time every month and every week and maybe every day. If it took you 15 minutes each day to chip away at one task that you knew was going to take you a while, as an example, let's say you want to go back to school, and in order to do that, you needed some money. So getting financial aid, maybe I qualify for financial aid, I don't know, but I got to spend time researching it. So let's say I can only do that on my lunch break at work. And let's say I have 15 minutes to do that. If I have to spend 15 minutes chipping away at that task all week long to finally get an answer, that was time well spent because I finally got my task done. It was one of my major tasks that may have taken me a week, but I got it done. So if you have to break it down into 15-minute increments so that it is not like so overwhelming and, and maybe you just don't have the time, 15 minutes is still 15 minutes. Anytime you spend chipping away at each little task, you're going to be seeing your reset. You're going to be seeing all those things that you want for your future life to be coming true. it takes time to get there, and you have to be willing to do the investment. Nobody can do that for you. No one can hand, and you know what? You shouldn't let people hand you everything. You shouldn't want that, because when you don't sacrifice for it, when you don't work hard for every aspect of it, it's really hard to achieve and do your best when someone's been just giving you all the answers to the test. You don't walk away with that true like victory because you worked for it. It's a long journey to get your college degree. It's a long journey to lose a lot of weight. You know, if that's a fitness goal, it's a long journey to find the true love of your life. It's a long journey to change your career. Don't cheat yourself out of that process and ask people to hand over the answers. You want to earn it. Exactly. You want to earn that, because one day you're going to be looking at yourself in the mirror with tears in your eyes going, girl, you're amazing. You stuck it out when people didn't believe in you, when you didn't even believe in yourself. There was this part of you that stuck in there and kept digging and researching and finding the answers. And that's the part that's going to get you to the finish line. It's like a muscle that you're developing. So like one thing I see a lot of people ask about like starting a business. Okay, I was kind of an accidental business owner. I wasn't trying to be one, so it kind of accidentally happened. But I know a lot of women want to be. And one thing I see a lot happen is like, tell me all the answers. Tell me where you got all your materials. Tell me where you got, you know, tell me how to start a business. Don't do that. Go do the homework. Running a business is hard. It is hard. And you have to develop muscle and skill to be able to solve a lot of your own problems, a lot of your own issues, because you're not going to be able to afford to have a tech support and have, you know, a department that answers all the questions for you. You got to go dig. You got to go find things. So you are doing stuff that's building all those little muscles to be a business owner. And there's things that we find we've developed that as we go along on our own. And I can't tell you, when you sit there and learn how to feed yourself, you are going to be way more successful than you ever imagined than when you turn around and go, give me all the answers. Just tell me how to do it. Because that's cheating. That's cheating, girl. It's cheating. You're not going to have all the muscles you need to survive when business gets hard, because it gets hard. It's not as easy and fun as it, you know, you might think it is when you portray it a certain way. It's true. So I have to say that's true about every goal. There's going to be times where we're just going to wish that, you know, we had done the hard work, because now we're going to have to get through some hard times. So I would tell you that as much as you might want to be like, just tell me everything, don't do it. Go make Google your best friend. There's many resources out there. And when you join, like when you're in the Goal Getters Club, I see a lot of you are so sweet and you're giving each other resources. Like, this is what I was doing. This is what I'm doing. Girl, click that link and go check out that resource. Go find out. Go look and see, why is that working for that girl? I want to go see for myself. Be curious. Want to find the answer. Be Nancy Drew. Go search it out. Get an answer for yourself. And start a little notebook. Be Nancy Drew and start finding the clues. I want to have a business here. If that's your reset, I want to change my career and have my own business. You got to start doing the work, and you got to start recording. Give me all the resources I can find and start doing your homework. Because unless you have a good foundation of some kind of knowledge to get it going, it's going to be very difficult for you, and you're not going to survive, because most businesses don't. So that is what I would tell you, is don't cheat yourself out of the hard work, because Nancy Drew, she always got to the case because she never gave up. And she had all those good skill sets because she kept practicing like her little detective skills. So you got to be that way too. And Google is your best friend. It's like your assistant that you don't pay. So breaking down the goal, that whatever you've chosen for your reset you want to focus on, you want to break it down into steps. And you don't have to be the perfect, most ever goal analyst ever. Just do it. Do some basics. So I'm going to give you an example. So for me, it was going back to school. That was one of my goals, because I wanted to change my career, and the only type of career I was interested in I needed to have some skills that I didn't currently have. So I had to break it down, and I had to do the math. How long would it take me to get my degree so that I could start looking for other jobs? So I wrote down in my planner, I set the date, like this is how long it's going to take me to do 2.5 years worth of schooling to get my bachelor's degree. That's all I had left to do. And I determined when I would be graduating. And then I told myself, that is my graduation date. I will be graduating at this time. It meant I had to pay off debt. I had to pay off my car. I could not afford to pay for school and living expenses if I had certain types of debt. So I had to make a plan to pay off my car, to pay off a little bit of debt that I had, and I had to make sacrifices. So that meant I couldn't go and get an apartment and live on my own, because that meant I'd have to get a full-time job and do all those things all over again, which was totally avoiding the goal. So at that time, I did have to swallow my pride and go live with my mom and dad for the first time, like in my adult life. It's kind of funny, is like I had, even though I had a little, baby as a young single mom, I managed to get my own apartment and have my own stuff for years. I never had to go back home. So having to do that then, pride swallowing. But girls, I do not regret it. It may have not been the most ideal situation, but I love my mom and dad, so that part was okay. But it was just like, you give up that part of yourself. It's like, oh, I'm on my own, I'm doing my own thing. Was it worth it? Yes, totally worth it. My rent was different. I didn't have to pay the crazy Bay Area rents that I would normally have paid trying to be on my own. And I was able to put money towards getting my degree, which is the whole point of the whole exercise, so that I could change my career. So then I had to do research. Which school do I need to go to? What schools have the best program for what I want to do? Where are they located? How much does it cost? I chose Arizona State University because I know that they're a top 25 school. I really, really, really wanted to have my degree from a really good school I could be proud of. And they had an awesome program. They're an amazing school. I wish I could have actually gone to some of the classes because they were amazing. I will tell you this. Online school is so much harder than you think it is. A lot of people are like, oh yeah, it'd be so fun to take school in my jammies. And yeah, I got to wear jammies sometimes, but there's also no teacher that you get to talk to after class. You don't get to participate in a discussion in the room and hear from each other and help each other. And you don't have any of that. You are literally on your own. You have to have incentive inside yourself, because no one is going to force you to show up but you. You got to show up and have all of that motivation to do it when no one's watching. The tests that you take, they're timed. They time them just enough so that you have just enough time to answer everything and be done. They don't give you time to look up answers. There's a lot of stuff you think, oh yeah, I could totally do that. No, you cannot. It's a lot harder. You have to really have a lot of motivation to push yourself through without having all of that kind of, exactly. It's not easier. I've done both in person and online. It's not. So I'm just letting you know that now. You have to really think it through. Am I better off in an environment like an extrovert is probably more likely to get more out of it in in-person school, going to class, being part of the discussion, getting that it's energizing. Whereas an introvert might be fine doing it on your own, but you are definitely in for some struggle, right, Jenna? It's not simple, but it is oh so worth it. And when you can say that you've done all that time and you've gotten your degree, like I said before, no one can ever take that away from you. And now you've learned how much perseverance you have to stick with something even when you're alone, by yourself, in your living room, in front of your little laptop. You know that you can stick through something that's really hard. That is invaluable. If you are able to do online school and that's an option, I would definitely consider, even if you took just one class. A lot of all the colleges now offer online school. So if it's something that works better for you, because it's a season of your life where you've got kids or different obligations that going to school is too hard, I would really recommend at least looking into it. If that's something you want to do and you see yourself wanting to reset your career path, I would say start with one class, one time each semester. Just take one class, and eventually you will chip away at everything you need to do. And so when I started going to school, I found out that in university they have different tiers of graduation, and I found out that with my GPA, if I worked my butt off, that I would be able to graduate summa cum laude, and that became my personal challenge. I'm going to graduate at the top of my class. So because I wanted to do that so bad, that was the level I wanted to achieve at. That meant no life. That meant no dating. That meant no friends. That meant no social life. I could not afford it. So when you make decisions about how you're going to do things, you have to realize that there comes sacrifice with certain things. So if you come to that position in life, you might have to say, hey, I'm sorry, friends. I may not get to go and do girls' night. I may not get to do some of the things that, we're used to doing because I am on a mission to reset my life. And this is something that means a lot to me. And so that was my reset. I really wanted to, if I was going to graduate and pay all that money for school and be able to look at that degree, I wanted to know that I did it to the best of my ability. I gave it everything I have. It's like jumping out of the plane. That was the scariest thing, and my degree tells me that when it comes down to it, I know how to give it everything I have. And oh my gosh, what an amazing thing to walk away with, knowing that when my heart's in it and I want it bad enough, I can achieve at that level. That's amazing. No one can ever take that away from me. And those are the kinds of things that we don't know until we really, really push ourselves. You really find out what you're made of. And yes, Jenna, it took me a very long time to be a supporter of myself. That's what I'm trying to get you guys to realize, is that no one was doing this for me. I had to do it for myself. And this is from a person who never said kind things to myself, ever. And now that I have all of these victories under my belt, I don't face life the same way. I don't look at things and go, oh, I can't do that. Yeah, I can. I know I can, because look what I've already done. I've done two things that are incredibly hard, and one day I will have to walk across a stage, talk to people, planner girls, and actually talk and give, hopefully, an inspiring speech. And that's ahead of me. That's like jumping out of a plane, but it's on my list. I am going to do that. It's resetting my life, and resetting my life now means that I'm going to walk in confidence and believe in the things that I have done made me who I am today. And one of the things that I am today is an encourager of you. I am a cheerleader for you. I believe for you. And I know that everything I'm saying is true because I have done it. So in this community of planner girls, we love our planners. We cling to our planners. We love decorating our planners. We set goals in our planners. We appreciate and have reverence for experiences, for time in our lives. We spend time writing that stuff out. You know how many people in the world have gone technology and they put everything in their little phone? We don't do that. We have respect for the written word, for putting things down in our writing, for memory keeping, for goal setting. Those are things that are so important to us. It's why we gravitate. This is a joyful experience, making our planners pretty. You do that for yourself. Yeah, you can show it off on Instagram and Facebook, but at the end of the day, you're doing that for yourself. And that's already showing you something, that you have it within you to have respect for those goals, to put things down, to be part of something bigger than yourself. That's what the planner community is. And we just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's more women that are like-minded, just like you, just like me. We have this really special quality about us that draws us all in. And yeah, our personalities all might be different, but there's this one thing that we all have, and none of us were like, oh girl, you got too much washi. There's not one of us that say that. We're like, ooh, show us more washi. So I want you to really remember that as you think about your reset and how you want to do things. And yes, I am going to make myself a whole reset my life planner. And that's something I'm going to show you. But I really want you to appreciate this quality about yourself. And why you're here on this Periscope is that you believe in the power of change and that you believe that you can do it. And I am no different from you girls. I don't have any magical elixir. I'm not a motivational speaker that's going to sell you a bunch of products. I am no different from you. I came from all kinds of challenges too. And I did this because I wanted to change parts of my life so bad. And I remember very clearly, I used to pray a lot, and I would tell God all the time, it is worth everything. It is worth being lonely and not having anyone. It's worth all the doubt and all this pushing myself. It's worth it if one day I can share all of this with someone. And it never occurred to me ever, ever, ever that I would have a Instagram channel of all things, and that I would have over 70,000 followers, that I have a little platform that I can talk to and say, hey, you can do this. What an incredible blessing. What a way to show you how things can change. You don't even know. So all the things you're going through right now, girl, I'm telling you, you are going to be someone else's inspiration one day. And the harder you push yourself, if you have to think about it in those terms, that what you're doing is going to change someone else's life, sometimes that got me through a lot of dark moments, because I would tell myself what I'm going through is going to make the difference for somebody else one day. I will be able to say, girl, I totally understand. I might look like I have everything now, but I did not before. I know what you're talking about when you say you're lonely. I know what you're talking about when you're saying I don't believe in myself. I totally get that. So we happen to be in the planner community. That's how we found each other. I am so glad that you're here. I am so glad that it's been really pressing on my heart more and more to talk about resetting and really start talking about what the Reset Girl has meant to me, because I feel like it's time to start doing that, and I feel like it's time to really start taking all of that and start telling you and pushing it forward, paying it forward, and helping you change lives, because you're going to change lives, girl. You're already here. You showed up for this. This is just the beginning. You know, who knows what the Goal Getters Club will be like in a year? Who knows what your life will be like in a year? Who knows where your account, all these things, we have influence. I don't care if you have 100 followers, if you have 5 followers, if you have 1,000 followers, if you have 100,000 followers, you have influence. Someone's watching you. You have the opportunity to share your victories, even if it's in your planner. So I want all of us to have that this year. I want all of us to be really cognizant of time being very precious and special. And you have so much time on this earth. You have so much time to make a difference for yourself and for others. So I'm going to start being really more intentional, my word for the year, about resetting your life and sharing that message and really kind of enforcing it over and over again, because a lot of you haven't had that taste yet of victory for yourself. And when you have it, and some of you do have it already, yay, when you do, man, you want everyone to drink it, right? You want everyone to taste what victory is like, because life can be very difficult, and when you have those winning moments, there's nothing like them, and no one can take them away from you. So I really want you guys to think about, take a week or so and really think about, is there an area of my life that I want to do over, if I want to reset? And if so, let's start working on the foundation. What does that look like to you? Is it books? Is it, you know, finding an accountability partner, someone that you can say, look, this is what I'm going to work on this year. I'm really going to make this happen. Start thinking about what is it that you need to start kind of making this effort and changing. I'm going to show you some of the things that I made. I actually made some things during my reset time that really helped me. This was a book I used for fitness. I made vision boards. I made, what else did I make? I made little cards for myself, little coaching cards. So I am going to be building a planner, and I'm going to show that in the Goal Getters Club and on Instagram, and do a Periscope about it too. So, and YouTube. Oh my gosh, you guys, I have been so remiss in being on YouTube. I know. I definitely will be making this part of that as well, because that is, I think, really important, because YouTube just, it's just the information, right? I love Periscope because I get to actually interact with you, and that's wonderful. But I think YouTube makes it great for being really tutorial-like and just really seeing I don't have connection issues with YouTube. So I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me as long as you have, and I see that some of you are saying that the connection is freezing, so I am happy though that I got through most of this without any issues. So I really appreciate your time. I apparently don't know how to do a short Periscope or a short YouTube. I appreciate you guys being with me. I'm really excited that so many of you are like stuck with me to the end, and that you are going to hopefully make the rest of your life the best of your life. And we are going to be doing an awesome job with resetting areas of our life all together. Hopefully, if you have not joined the Goal Getters Club, it is on Facebook. It is The Reset Girls Goal Getters Club. It is going to be moving, so you can definitely join now, just so that you have a place where you have the address that you'll know where we're moving to. But we're going to be going to a website very shortly, and it is going to be awesome. You guys are not going to believe your eyes. It's going to be organized so beautifully, and you'll be able to see all the community encouragers doing their posts, and you'll be able to comment on the post. and you walk away with takeaways, and it'll be nice and organized. It'll be wonderful. And that is, it's what I wish I would have launched with had I known it was, I could have done it that way. So bad on me, but now I've learned. So I am going to start getting very consistent with my Periscopes, so that you guys can kind of, like a little TV program, what do you tune in and watch? So I need to kind of set myself up for that so that we can be really consistent with our little messages, and you guys can encourage each other. And I'm going to post in the Goal Getters group. There's a Reset Your Life club inside of it. It's like a little group within a club. That's what I should have said. It's a group within a club. Yes. So that you can follow along with what I am specifically talking about. And I don't have the link, but if you do the Reset Girls Goal Getter Club, the Reset Girls Goal Getter Club in Facebook search, you will find it. If you type in the Reset Girls, you'll see a bunch of different clues, clubs that I have set up, because I always put my name in them so that people can find everything I offer. That's why I do it. So you girls are amazing. I wish I could give you little gold stars for hanging out with me as long as you did. I'm impressed with your perseverance. So thank you so much. And I will, we're going to post a link to this whole Periscope in the group so that you'll be able to watch it later. And I'm going to start trying to do that as well on my, I have a blog, believe it or not, and that's one of my initiatives this year, is to actually start vlogging and encouraging you guys. It's going to be awesome. But I'm going to start putting them there too as well. And just for good measure, I will probably, what else have I left out? Where else can I post? I probably will put this one on YouTube, because this was a long one. And the way we do it on YouTube is you can see all the little comments and everything, so you guys can see all your little feedback. So thank you girls so much. I just love you to pieces. Thank you for blessing my life and being part of it. I'm just so, you guys are like little tiny faces on my phone screen, but when I think about you, I really think about you as a bunch of girls I wish I could just hug and just show you how much I appreciate you. So I am going to get to meet some of you in person in the Iowa Planner Girl meetup this weekend. I'm going to bring my little introvert self and force myself to be like, yeah, I'm cool. I'm here at the meetup. So, but yeah, you girls are awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being part of my life. I just can't thank you enough, and I love you guys so much. And I will see you very soon in another Periscope, and I promise you we're going to get on a schedule so that you know when to expect these little messages, and hopefully they won't be as long. So I'm going to see if I can actually turn this off, because I have the worst time actually stopping the broadcasts. So thank you, girls. Mwah! Hope you have a wonderful night.